What's up guys, Jeff here, and today I'm going to talk to you about the second pillar of fitness transformation success, and that is workouts and training and its pyramid of success. Okay, so just like the nutrition pyramid, this one is also a very similar pyramid of a hierarchy of importance. Combined together overall will lead to the pillar of fitness success, okay? And once we put all these pillars together, you're going to have an overall transformation success, which is vital, okay? So when it comes to working out, just like nutrition, there's a hierarchy, and this pyramid is pretty simple. But if taken out of order, the results are going to be not quite the same. You're not going to have long-term success, and you're overall going to have a lot harder time getting your end outcome. So the first layer that we have here for anything is adherence. Okay, so I can also say this is consistency. Nope. Oh, looks like that's dropped. Is adherence or consistency, okay? So, the base of our whole process when it comes to working out is making sure that we can follow the plan or process and we can stay consistent. Okay, this is the most important because oftentimes this is jumped and overlooked, and we're worrying about, how many biceps, like what is our program going to look like, how many reps, sets, and blah, blah, blah it's going to have, but we haven't taken a look at how well we can adhere to this and how consistent we can be. So I have a story that I like to tell, and that's about the person that does a 10,000 mile hike. Okay, there's two people on this journey. The first person does 100 miles a day, every day, for 20 days, okay? I don't know if the numbers are right. I don't even know if 1,000 miles, whatever, 2,000 miles, whatever. He does 100 miles a day for 20 days. At the end of the 20 days, he has reached his goal. That's adherence and consistency. However, the other man, again, there's two, the other man does 500 one day, 200 another, takes 2-3 days off. At the end, who wins? The person that wins and gets to the end first was the person who did 100 miles daily, rain, shine, and stayed consistent. Not the person that did a ton of work here and no work here and was all over the place. So you have to understand that adherence and consistency is the primary base of support for the workout foundation of the workout foundation and pillar. Okay? From there, we're looking at the volume, intensity, and frequency. So that's the next layer. Okay, so how this works is after we found out our consistency and our adherence ability, okay, so what I like to do with people is figure out how often you can come in. If you can come in 3 times a week, we can then build the volume, intensity, and frequency we need over the 3 days. Now, if you have 5 days, that allows us to spread the volume, intensity, and frequency over 5 days. But we have to first maintain our adherence and consistency. We have to know what we are capable of doing consistently and sticking to before we can worry about the volume, intensity, and frequency that we're working on, okay? From there, the next layer is going to be progression. This is where I oftentimes see people make the mistake. We're jumping around and trying to progress and regress movements too often for a person without actually figuring out any consistency or adherence. We're also not taking into account the intensity, the volume, and the frequency that this person is doing when it comes to their overall training. So we have to make sure that our progression comes in third after we've figured out how often we can come in, how long can we stick to it, and can we stay on that track. We then have worked our volume, intensity, and frequency based on the ability to consistently train and our ability to adhere. From there, we then work in our progression. And again, our progression is not these huge jumps, but think about it just like walking upstairs. We take one step at a time to walk up these stairs. We don't just jump up multiple stairs, because that's not how it works. We have to make sure we progress in a function or way that makes sense and allows us to constantly be improving. From there, the next phase is exercise selection. So this is one that I see often as well, is people will focus on always changing up movements, muscle confusion. The muscle doesn't get confused, it doesn't have a brain. So we don't need to change our exercise selection, we just need to change the progression of the movement. So we don't need to do 70 different variations of bench press. We just need to progress the ability on our bench press. That just means that we change the volume, the intensity, the frequency. We might change a little bit of the stimulus, things like that. Okay. After we've worked on the exercise selection, we then, as you guys can see, these these blocks are getting smaller and smaller. We then work into our rest period. Okay, so one of the big things here is if you only have an hour to train, right? That's the adherence and consistency portion. We then figure out what we can do volume, intensity, and frequency wise in that hour. We then work on how we can progress these training sessions. We then work on our exercise selection, changing up the stimulus just a little bit. And then we go into our rest period, which is almost the top, but it's still important compared to the final stage. And rest periods just means, are we taking a lot of rest? Or are we dropping rest? So that kind of goes back into the intensity here. But how long are you resting between your workouts? How long are you resting between your sets? That sort of stuff. And then the final phase of the pyramid here is workout tempo. Okay, so workout tempo just means what I'm doing here is I'm repping out weights, and then I go to a tempo of maybe a 4-second down, a 1-second hold, and a 4-second explode. That wouldn't be an explode if it was 4 seconds, but a 0 explode. That would be tempo. But the tempo doesn't matter, nor do the rest periods, nor do the exercise selection, if we can't adhere to the program and stay consistent. It also doesn't matter unless we can make sure our volume, intensity, and frequency is adequate for the goal that we're trying to get. So if our goal is to increase muscle tone, we need to make sure that our adherence and consistency is primary, and then our volume, intensity, and frequency match up with that end goal. Once you have that, you have a pillar of success when it comes to your nutrition, or you have a pyramid of success, which leads to the pillar of success for workouts. Align that with your nutrition and everything else, and you're going to be golden. All right, guys?